When Attack on Titan ended, many people were quick to decide that the ending was terrible. Even beyond that, many people accused it of being retconned, that for whatever reason, Isayama had backed out of his vision at the last minute, scrapping what he had spent a decade planning. At the heart of that discussion was Eren himself. The conclusion of his arc and the reveal of his motivations led many people to believe his character had been inexplicably ruined right at the end. I myself was one of the people who believed that. I hated the ending and I hated what I felt like it had done to Eren. But as the months passed and as I continued to discuss the ending with more and more people, I began to come to a realization. Not only is the belief that the ending was retconned entirely incorrect, but the ending we got was the only logical conclusion the story could have had. Eren's conclusion was not only logical and natural, but also fantastic, inventive writing that truly elevated his character to a level very few could have foreseen. For the next hour and a half, I'd like to ask you to forget everything you think you know about the series. Understanding Eren takes not only a deep dive of the entire story, but also an open mind and a willingness to reconsider your preconceptions and past expectations. If you can do that, I think you'll find that Eren's arc is a fascinating piece of character writing grounded in philosophy, with a lot to say about the meaning of freedom.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while since I sat down and talked to you guys like this a little bit more informally, and we're here to talk about this interview by Isayama that resurfaced a few days ago. Big shout outs to my friend Serenity for sending me this interview and for basically asking me to make this video asking for my thoughts on this interview, because I know I did make a post on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at Brown's Tragic about this particular interview, but I didn't really go into depths about my actual thoughts and kind of chopping up my thoughts on this interview. Make sure you go to Serenity's video. They really break down the interview, the person who posted it, and etc. It's just really insightful. And then after you do that, make sure you go to Odin's video and watch Odin's thoughts on it, and then welcome here to mine. Like, I know I'm last to get my... I have the final say. Okay, I get the final say. So on Twitter, I kind of just posted my perspective. I didn't really go that much into detail, but I kind of just said, thank God we can shut the fuck up about the book. Right? I am so sick and tired of this argument that was popularized by invaders, said by Cactus Shash, agreed upon by so many people in the fandom, right? So many followers who are only interested in claiming that Isayama is the best writer of all time and that the Attack on Titan ending is the best thing ever since the Breaking Bad ending, which I haven't even finished that shit, and I can already tell you that's an absolute flat out no. No. These are not people interested in the story's elements and in the story for what it gave us and in the character of Eren. These are people actually interested in that, and you can tell based on what they say. What these people are interested in, Cactus Shash, invaders, people like that, they're interested in recontextualizing the story so it all fits in with 139. Because as Anime Balls Deep said the best, 139 becomes the skeleton to the entire story. Based on 139, yes, Eren is a psychopath. Yes, Eren just wanted to rumble because rumbling's fun. Yes, Eren is a fucking degenerate loser cuck. I don't know, based on only that chapter. That chapter is so far removed from the entire story that characterized Eren up until, perfectly. Up until his POV was taken from us, right? We knew who Eren was. The twist at the end of the story should never be actually, disregard everything. And that's how Invader's video starts, right? Forget everything you know about Eren Yeager. Listen to my recontextualizing of him based on 139. That's a shit story. That's a shit storm. That's garbage. Okay, first and foremost. Secondly, we know, it, like Odin said, right? Ending haters agree on all of the basic elements of what went wrong in the story in 139. We all agree on 4 or 5 major things that's like, what the fuck, right? Historia's pregnancy plot. it's shit for her character, right? Not all of us believe that her and Eren were in love or whatever, or could have been in love and whatnot, and that Eren being protective of her is semblance of love. Not all of us believe, like, every little detail, right? But there are, like, I'd say 4 or 5 basic overall things that we're all like, okay, this is what went to shit with the way this story ends. One of the main things, the first point, is Eren's character. It completely gets turned on its head and goes to shit by 139. Oh, I don't know why I did that. I just wanted to. Like, shut up. That's not the character we've been saying. Anyways, let's get more direct. This interview, Isayama says that Grisha's notebooks, learning that there really were people outside after all, they were also hostile, and there's so much war and fighting, and it was a futile, like Paradis making peace with the outside world was futile. That is what disappointed Eren. The fact that Paradis had literally no chance. Paradis did not stand a chance to make peace with this outside world, right? It was futile. Not only that, but also Paradisians were denied this outside world. That is disappointing. It's not the Titans that kept us behind these walls. It's other people. It's racist, bigoted, cruel people, right? Grisha was tortured at the very thought of trying to empower Eldians. Faye was killed for no reason. And so many other atrocities, right? Ymir's backstory. Come on now. That is what disappointed Eren. People watch the scene of Eren and Mikasa with the ice cream and think it's like a beautiful ship moment. Oh my god, indirect kiss. Oh my god, Eren and Mikasa are eating ice cream together. But they don't listen to what he's saying in that scene. She's like, look, Eren, ice cream. He's like, oh yeah, I've heard of it. Nobody in no Eldian can get that. They rarely get the opportunity to eat ice cream. Something as simple as having sugar, Eldians can rarely get to do. That is what's disappointing. That the racism is so bad, not only do they get killed for no reason, not only do they get tortured and mutilated, they can't even eat ice cream, just on the basis that they're of this bloodline. And the people who don't see that have been ignoring the story, or have not been reading, or watched Invader's video, and as he said, forgot everything they know about Eren Yeager, and used 139 to recontextualize the entire story. I'm sorry, that's just not how telling a story goes. That's just not how character development goes. That's not what makes, 139 does not a great character create. So the first thing they always bring up is the damn book. Eren wanted to make the world like Armin's book. A flat plane with woo 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 woo. This take is so fucking absurd. Eren was upset, like at the ocean scene at the end of season 3, right? I believe. Mikasa and Armin are enjoying the ocean because they got there. They made it. Cool. This thing that people said never existed, to try and protect Paradisians, to try and give them, like, kind of an ease of existence within the walls. Oh, that shit doesn't exist anyway, They finally make it. They made it there. They're happy with that. Eren is not, because he knows. He knows the cruelty of everything, like Grisha. What Grisha had to do and go through to make it to Paradis. He knows all of that. How can he stand in that ocean and be happy? How can he? And it's like, if you don't have that take, you weren't paying attention to the story. Or, like I said, you forgot everything you know about Eren Yeager once you read 139. He did not want to create a flat plane. He did not want to do that. He wanted to be free. He wanted to regain access to the things he's been denied on the basis of his race. Period. And this interview corroborates that. And guess what? Guess what? We knew that. Ending haters knew that before this interview came out. And Ending Defenders will tell us that we're the ones with reading and comp issues. If we have so many reading and comp issues, how were we able to guess this correctly? That which has been corroborated by the author himself. How are we able to guess that correctly? If we have the issues here. And you're the one who said, no, he just wanted to rumble because rumbling's fun. Because he's psychotic. How are we the ones then with the reading and comp issues? How did we guess correctly when 139 dropped? Oh yeah, this piece would never work. We guessed that shit correctly. Because guess what? When the final pages came out, it didn't work. It did not last. They had, 100 years? And they were bombed off the map. We didn't understand the story. How do we keep guessing these things correct? How do we keep getting it right? It doesn't make sense, right? That doesn't make sense. We cannot at the same time have reading and comp issues, yet correctly guess everything that was meant by this, by that, by this, by that, picking up on the subtext that Isayama spells out in this interview. For you idiot who did not understand the story. It's projection. You didn't understand the story, but you still want to believe Isayama's the greatest writer of all time. So, what do? You forget everything you know about Eren Yeager, and you recontextualize the entire story to fit the skeleton that 139 becomes. That's what you do when you don't understand the story. You have to forget everything you know about Eren Yeager. And kind of my final thoughts on this is like, if the people outside of Paradis, if the rest of the world was peaceful and kind, let's go down that line of thought. First and foremost, Eren would not have done the rumbling, right? That was the whole purpose of him going to Marley, to get a feel, to understand the people, to correctly prove his visions of the future right. Okay, I guess I did the rumbling because these fucking people will not leave Paradis alone. These people are going to genocide us. I guess that's why I did the rumbling. It makes sense now. Damn, I'm sad I have to kill all these people. But I'd rather live than be genocided. I'd rather live. It's kill or be killed. I'd rather kill than just be killed because I'm this race. As any normal person who is not suicidal would want. That's human nature, baby. Like, he's supposed to sit on his hands with the power to protect people. That's just like if robbers came into your house with knives and they threatened to kill your family unless you give them your gold or whatever the fuck. And they said, you know what? Even if you give us the gold, we're still going to kill your family. And you're standing there with a gun. And you know what? You just sit your gun down. And you're like, there's more robbers than there are of my family members. I'm just going to sit my gun down. Go ahead, take what you want. And then kill us. Who cares? This guy is sitting here with the power to protect his people who've done nothing wrong. Right? He doesn't want to die. He doesn't want his people to die. Hell yeah, he's going to fucking do the rumbling. Because it's genocide to be genocided. That's how it's written. That's how it's written. Now, how many times do we need to wait on Isayama's words to prove us right before you join the correct side? The ending hater side. Like, this isn't hard. So if people were kind and peaceful, Eren wouldn't have done the rumbling. Not only that, but if people in the outside world were kind and peaceful, Reiner, Bert, and Annie wouldn't have done their terrorist attack on Paradis. I spent an hour and 27 minutes talking about this in my first ever Attack on Titan video. Can we defend Eren Yeager? Yes. Right? And I went into great detail that without Reiner, Bert, and Annie, Eren wouldn't have learned shit about the Titans. Grisha probably wouldn't have passed it to Eren, right? All of this shit, right? Like, the series as we know it would be completely different. Because everything that happens after the Reiner, Bert, and Annie terrorist attack is reactionary. Everything that Eren does is a reaction to that point in the series, the terrorist attack. Because guess what? Isayama writes clearly for us that Grisha was done with the Eldia restorationist movement. He was done with it, and he was raising his boy Eren normally. But Eren had a desire to see the outside world. You know, he was inspired by Armin's book. Maybe there is more out there, outside of these walls. I want to see that. I want to see that for myself. Maybe there is more out there. That's what initially inspired him. But then he got out there after learning the reason why he was denied the right to see these beautiful things, fields of snow, water, the ocean, right? That's what made him say, God damn, I am so disappointed. I am so disappointed that what I've been fighting against this whole time is a group of millions of people that want me wiped off the earth. The reason I couldn't have seen these fields of ice and snow and water and mountains is because people, I'm a person, they're people, but they've dehumanized us to the point where they're going to wipe us off of the map for racism. That's why Eren was disappointed, right? But let's follow along the thought if the people in the outside world were kind, right? So if they were kind, Eren wouldn't have done the rumbling. Reiner, Bert, and Annie wouldn't have had the terrorist attack on Paradis. Following that line of thought, even if they had done the terrorist attack on Paradis, somebody else in the outside world would have checked them. It's not the oppressed person's job. It's not the minority of people's job to prove their humanity. That is the job of the majority, to stand and defend the weaker nation. We will not let you guys disturb Paradis. And that is what the world should have done. I always say this. Where the hell is the World Alliance to protect Paradis? Why does the Alliance come from Paradisians? Why do the Paradisians kickstart the end of the rumbling? That makes no sense. Where is the rest of the world? Where's the World Alliance to help Paradis? Where is the World Alliance? Like I said in my tweets, there should have been some sort of system in the outside world where, hey, if you fuck with Paradis, we're gonna fuck with you. Especially since the outside world realizes that the rumbling is a possibility. Especially Marley. Yet no, they continue to poke the bear. They know they have nukes, and they continue to poke the bear. And make the surprise Pikachu face once the nukes are launched. Like, you wanted this. You did this to yourself. You were told by the old king, if you fuck with Paradis, we have these titans in the walls, and you'll be destroyed. And Marley bit the bullet. They wanted to do it anyway, so that's what happened. They got what they asked for. They got what they asked for. The cycle of hatred could have ended when the king receded inside of the walls, right? Eldia, the old Eldian Empire, did all these atrocities and whatnot, and then the world defeated them. And the king said, hey, like, that was fucked up. We're gonna punish ourselves and isolate ourselves from the rest of the world. Here we go on Paradis. Just leave us alone. Let us just do us over here in this island, and that'll be it. Okay. And that came complete with brainwashing the citizens into thinking this was all there is, right? That came with all of that. That was all. Like, period. Cycle of hatred should have and could have ended there. But Marley is the villain of the story. It's not Eren. They kickstarted this entire event. Like, they kickstarted the end of the world. And I can keep talking all day about this. You guys know I love to fucking ramble, okay? Y'all know I can ramble. I can talk a mile a minute. But I'm gonna taper off, right? I'm gonna taper off. All I'm saying is, like I said in the Can We Defend Eren Yeager video, this series doesn't happen without the terrorist attacks on Paradis. Just as the first king said when he receded to Paradis, leave us alone. We're repenting over here. This was fucked up. We know. Like, these years of colonization, whatever happened with the Eldian Empire, that was messed up. Which is why we're receding. We're separating ourselves. Just let us be us over here, and that'll be the end of it. That was the answer to the cycle of hatred. That was it. That was the answer. And like Isayama said in a recent interview, if, the Colossal Titan hadn't kicked down the wall that day, Eren would have lived a miserable life in Paradis until he died, right? He would have just lived without knowing that there was, without any way to go outside the walls or venture out or see anything that he dreamed about, right? In other words, there wouldn't have been a rumbling. So he proved me correct that the terrorist attacks on Paradis is what caused literally everything that happened in this series. There is no battle of heaven and earth without terrorist attacks on Paradis. And people like Invaders and Cactus Sash and their minions and followers, they want you to believe that if the wall hadn't fallen that day, Eren would have been a terrorist himself. He would have killed the people of Paradis? Since just in his nature, he wanted to rumble and destroy and kill people? They're telling you that he would have killed the people of Paradis. Pretty much. If, the world was peaceful. Because if the world was peaceful, RBA wouldn't have came to Paradis to terrorist attack them. If the world was peaceful and kind, RBA would not have come to Paradis to terrorist attack them. Or if they had, the world, the other powers in the world would have came to check Marley. Don't do that. Stop. Right? If the world was as peaceful and amazing and great and gracious and I honestly deserving of life, if they were this series as we know it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened. Eren would have died in Paradis. Miserable. Not knowing what he's missing out on. He would have died. Period. The end. But no, it's the terrorist attacks that lead to... Point A is the terrorist attacks on Paradis. Then there's the arrows. Point Z is the rumbling. You can't get to Z without A. And I know I kind of went off on a tangent, but I guess it's all related, right? It's completely asinine to make this thought that Eren is just this fucking psychotic lunatic, etc. That's just completely asinine. Absolutely does not work with what we've been shown in the series. And, people on the ending hating side would prefer not to, and I quote, forget everything you know about Eren Yeager, end quote.